what's going on? Ben Atkins here with you on the Fearless Social podcast. And today we're going to be talking about some of the tools and the rules that we use for writing a really good blog post over at fearlesssocial.com, as well as some of our side properties and other businesses that we help others run, as well as some of my personal projects. I have a set of rules and a set of things that I do to get started writing really good content. And so today, a couple things that I want to talk about. Number one, why is blogging so damn important? Okay. After that, the key things, there's really two things that you have to have in mind before you ever start blogging. If you don't have these two things in mind, then you're going to be in trouble. After that, how to write your headlines, sort of the process that we go through with headlines, and how we write blog posts sort of from the ground up. A lot of people write blog posts in a really weird way. Well, they write in a really weird way, and it really holds them back. And I'll show you how we do it, and we do it fast. After that, I'm going to give you an insight into our blog guidelines. I won't go through them, but I'm going to link you to them so that you can kind of see our rules for when we actually do blog posts. So after that, I'm going to give you a really cool tool that I use, have been using for a little while now, that helps me with headlines. So we're going to go through that. After that, I'm going to give you a couple key tools that I use to help with sort of formatting, sentence structure, things like that. So without any further ado, let's dive in. Let's get started. I like keeping these short and sweet and actionable. Let's get going. So first things first, why is blogging so important? You know, I think blogging's been around forever, but it's sort of been this thing that I think a lot of people haven't really caught on to. Why blogging is so important. It just sounds boring. It sounds like something that, you know, is not going to be immediate. And a lot of people think blogging is like this big long-term type investment thing, and that's all it is. So here's the thing with blogging. Blogging is going to be the absolute most important part of selling online in the very near future, as if it wasn't important enough already. Here's the thing. You can put together a very cool website that is designed to sell something that would be a sales page, right? And here's the problem with that. The problem with that is nobody on social media is going to share your stuff. And with the way the search engines are going right now, it's going to be a lot harder to rank a straight sales letter in the search engines for anything that would actually matter. So the thing that you got to start looking at is how are you going to get traffic to your product? And that's becoming very, very important, because every day you got marketers out there that are yelling at you and they're trying to get you to go to their site so that they can sell you something. And it's just, people are starting to really block this out, and they've been blocking it out for a while. With blogging though, you're able to teach. You're able to teach something that people want. So let's say that I am talking about fitness and I'm talking about how to lose 20 pounds. Now, there's two ways to go about that. I can sell a product that teaches people how to lose 20 pounds, or I can give it to them for free. And then when I give it to them for free on the blog, and I'm talking really good information, really in depth, when I give it to them there, do you think that they're going to be more or less likely to go want to buy something from me that takes them to the next level or helps them automate, simplify, or scale that process? So the key with blogging is this. If you want to basically recruit an army of salespeople that are going to share your sales message, write something that is free, that is valuable in whatever niche you're in, that people will share on social media. If you just happen to have a link to a product that is for sale and related, you're going to make sales. Plus, in the long term, you're going to rank in the search engines, and you're going to be sitting in a lot of places as really good articles. All right, so that's why blogging is important. Now, here's two things that I really am always asking myself. The first one's more important than the second one. If you don't follow these rules, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. And the key here is these rules, if you don't have these things in place, you shouldn't write a blog post. You shouldn't write anything in the first place. Number one, most important thing, and my team over at Fearless Social, if they're not sick of hearing this already, they're going to be really sick of it in the next few months. But you always have to ask, when I'm blogging, what's in it for them? Meaning, what's in it for your reader? Okay? What's in it for your reader? If you don't really understand why someone would want to come read your blog and what you're giving them, and really quickly you explain to them in the blog post, like right in the first few sentences, why they should be there and what's in it for them, you're in trouble. Okay? Because if they don't understand what's in it for them, they're gone and they will never get to the point to where they want to do anything else with you. But if you can explain what's in it for them and then actually deliver on your promise of here's what I'm going to teach you, then not only are you going to see a lot of really good things in terms of sales, in terms of, them reading other articles and staying on your blog and making money, but you're also going to see them share your stuff with their friends. And let me tell you, if they share stuff with their friends, that is as good as a referral. That is as good as them saying, I trust this. And I don't know about you, but I love traffic that comes to me or walks into my business that already trust me because their friend said that I was awesome. That gives me a leg up. Doesn't matter what kind of business you have. If you have someone that's telling their friend, this is great, then yeah. So the next thing is, that's the what's in it for them. Now, what about the what's in it for us? This is the next question I always ask before we ever write a blog post. What's in it for us? What are we promoting? If there's no jump to someone opting in or buying something from us, then what did we really write that article for in the first place? Now, there's long-term goodwill, I get that. But overall, your reader will be mad at you. They will literally be pissed off at you if they get through this amazing article that teaches them how to do something and you don't tell them what to do next. And it should be related to something you're doing. You just worked to get that trust, and they trust you now. And, this is one of those things that I always ask people is, what do you feel like when you go in and you get value from someone and they don't tell you how to get more value from them? It seems funny that someone would want to pay you more or go look for more from you after you just delivered, but they do. That's our natural reaction. So that's it. What's in it for them? What's in it for us? Those are the two things. What's in it for them is always 90% of it. The what's in it for us has to be there, though. That's the 10% that has to be there. And if you don't have those two things, you can't get started. So when you write blog posts, or you write any sort of content, this is the thing that I think most people miss because they don't understand how people actually read. Now, couple key things here. What I'm telling you here is always write your headlines first. Now, you're going to change your main headline later, but you should always write your headline and your subheadlines of your article first. Now, why should you do that? Because that gives you a roadmap as to how you're going to actually be writing this thing and how each of those pieces connects. Well, how many of you have ever been reading something? You've been out there, you've been reading something, and it just didn't connect. It just didn't work, and it wasn't right. But here's how people read. They're going to read from left to right, and they're going to, a lot of them read your headlines first, and if those headlines click, they're going to go back and actually read what's in between the headlines. So understanding your headlines have to play well with each other, and why have all that distraction of text in the way when you can just write your headlines first and map your article out so that you know that they all connect. And then when we write in our blog, that's pretty much how we do it. We write the headlines first. We go back and always change the main headline to something better than what we first came up with, because let's be honest, the headline of your article is the most important. You should spend 80% of your time working on the headline for your article, but you don't want to do that before you get started. Okay, so that's pretty much how we do it. We'll start with writing the headlines, your main headline, the subheadlines, and then once we like kind of the flow of those just on their own, then we'll start writing what's in between. Hopefully that helps a lot of folks. Now, something that's sort of a bonus that I'm going to be giving you all, I have a set of rules, and this particular set of rules is what I actually give my staff to, and it's constantly being updated, but it'll be updated on your end when we update it. I'm going to have a link in the show notes that's going to give you a set of guidelines to the rules that we have when we write a blog post at fearlesssocial.com. All right? Why we write something at fearlesssocial.com, how we've got that set up. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys some rules on that, and I will make sure that you all have those. And I'm not going to go into them now because they'll make more sense kind of after we get through with this thing. But let's talk about some tools that we use. One of the most important things I said a couple minutes ago was headlines. Headlines are 80% of the entire game. If you can write a good headline and get someone's attention and get them to your blog to read your stuff, the battle is halfway won. So you need some good tools to do this. Now, I'm going to have links to this in our show notes, but if you're listening right now, go to Google right now and write Headline Analyzer. Okay, so Headline Analyzer. Now, what you're looking for is a tool by a company called CoSchedule. CoSchedule is a really cool tool for blogging, but I'm not going to get into that. You can dive into that, but they have this really cool free tool called Headline Analyzer. And what's cool about Headline Analyzer is you can take your headline, you can put it into the box, and it's going to spit out some grades. So it's going to give you a grade on your headline, and it actually will explain why you got a good grade, why you got a bad grade. And while it's not the end-all, be-all, it is an extremely powerful tool to see if your headline is going to work in a really cool way. So like I said, you can go to coschedule.com and check it out. I'm sure there's a link there. But if you can't find it there, you can wait for our show notes, or you can check out Headline Analyzer. Just type that into Google and it should find it for you. So another key thing, and I'm going to make this quick, but these are a couple of key tools that we've got. I'll make sure that they're in the show notes. When we're writing blog posts, sentence structure is not something I'm paying attention to when I write. Grammar is not something I'm paying attention to when I write. And people that have seen my past stuff probably realize that in a very big way. But I want to actually pay attention to that stuff before it goes live on the blog. Okay, at least I do these days. So there's a tool called Hemingway. And with Hemingway, what this tool does is Hemingway sets you up with your sentence structure. So if you have too many run-on sentences, or you have certain words that are a little bit off, Hemingway is going to be something that when you are done with your blog post, so a lot of times I'll type my blog post actually inside of Evernote, and then I move them over to Hemingway so that I can look for errors, and Hemingway will pick out the sentence structure errors and sort of the problems there so that I can make it easier. It's also going to give your writing a grade. So it's going to give your writing a grade. It's going to say this is about a 4th or a 6th or an 8th grade level. Now we want to write at about a 4th to 5th grade level so that the most people can consume our content. If you write above that, it gets very, very difficult. So Hemingway is going to give you a grade on what level you're writing on, and it's also going to help you clean up some of the mistakes there. Now, once I'm done with Hemingway and I've fixed all that stuff, we're going to jump over to something called Grammarly. So Grammarly.com, we'll have that in the show notes for you. But Grammarly.com, I can put in, and it's going to help me fix some grammar errors, and it gives you a lot of really good stuff that you can do to sort of clean up the grammar stuff. And finally, when we're done with that, we move everything over to our WordPress setup, or however we're rocking that out. So there you go. That's the walkthrough with everything that we're going to have in the show notes. You'll kind of see what we do at Fearless Social. You'll see links to the tools that we mentioned today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that this was a good setup for you all, and it helps you get where you need to be with your blog. So Ben Atkins here. If you would like more, you'd like to check out the show notes, you can go to fearlesssocial.com and make sure you leave us a comment. And if you like this podcast, then subscribe. We would love to have you as a subscriber, and that way you can be notified every time we come out with a new podcast. All right, been here with Fearless Social. I will see you on the next podcast.